I can only assume that you're recording. Camera. Just 2 seconds ago, I reviewed Halo 3, a game which requires, a pretty intense amount of attention, patience, and Twitch skills in order to play multiplayer. Also requires you to be a gaming god. I'm about to do gaming rant number 4. It would be 5 if I wasn't intending to write a script on Mario Golf, but since I'm not going to talk about Mario Golf 64 right now, I'm instead going to talk about another game for the Xbox 360 called Virtua Tennis 2009. Now, as you saw probably in my random things video, I do play tennis. I still play tennis. Even after I've exited high school and began college, I am intending to try and play tennis for college, so obviously I'm a big time tennis fanatic. I'm probably the only person in my group of friends who actually plays any kind of arcade tennis game. Virtua Tennis 2009, Virtua Tennis 3, Virtua 1, for Christ's sakes, that they play in the arcades. Interesting, though, was that all the critics are still, the people who play tennis, the people like me, who want to play all the tennis games. By the way, this rant is completely unscripted. The people who play Virtua Tennis games obviously have a deep appreciation for tennis, otherwise they wouldn't be playing on there to try and emulate their best players. Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, Novak Djokovic, Andy Murray, the top 4 currently, or the late players Boris Becker, Stefan Edberg. As much of a joke as it sounds, Tim Henman. The interesting thing is that I can imagine a lot of the fan base would buy the game just to play those characters. Now that's all fine and good, but I'm talking about the game. Now my first complaint about this game is the fact that the campaign mode is a little bit better this time around. They added in the tennis shop in 2009. Actually, they revived it. It was there in the first one. They revived the tennis shop, right? But they introduced this whole ranking ladder where you start out as number 100. And you have to win tournaments in order to climb up the ranks. Now here's the problem with the tournaments, is that you have to go through all these rookies and you win this tournament that takes a half hour out of your life. If you're not as good as a lot of the pros are, it takes a half hour. And after you win, you go up maybe 3 ranks. So you go from 197, takes a half hour if you haven't raised any of your stats by playing their monotonous, childlike minigames. And after you've played freaking one minigame 10 billion times, you finally gain the ability to unlock one of their modes of gameplay, where you become a fast runner, or you become a heavy hitter, or you become a master volleyer, which are actually the better ones. They give you no clue how you're supposed to unlock anything. They basically just throw you out there and tell you, go and go over the academy. Go through the academy games and win all the academy training sessions or whatever. They don't tell you exactly how to do it. So it takes a decade for someone to actually win the game. And there really isn't any point to winning the game, because obviously online is anything anyone cares about. Playing is pretty simple. The serve got even more sensitive, however. You press the button, you turn the control stick a little bit, and it will go that way when you hit the button again to serve. If you time it right, you get this really powerful serve that people have trouble returning. Great. You get to a ball early, you press the shot button early, he hits the ball harder than he would normally. You tilt the control stick to control where he's going to hit the thing. The biggest issue I have with online gameplay is the fact that people can quit if they're going to lose. I'm sorry, first of all, Sega, for what I'm about to say, but you got to do something about this. Come on now. If people could just quit without penalty. They quit without penalty. You're beating them. I remember I was beating this guy. I was kicking this guy down. We need to win 3 sets for victory. I had 2. And I was about to win the 3rd set. And match point, he quits. I don't get a win, he doesn't get a lose. What's up with that? Right? In fact, after I went to the ranking ladder, it said I lost. Sega, come on. Even in Halo, if you quit, you get penalized. Even in Halo, if you quit, you get penalized. If you lose, you get penalized. If you win, you might get something. But the fact of the matter is, if you lose or if you quit, you're supposed to be penalized. Or at least, something. There was also the other problem with Halo Online is that there seems to be this little, it depends on the player, but a little bit amount of lag, where you could have swore you put them away with one of your best shots, and the ball will stop right in front of them, and they will somehow get to it to hit the ball back. I know on their screen it probably doesn't look like that. On their screen it probably seems like they reached the ball and they got it back. But it's exhausting mentally to try and think about whether or not they're going to reach that ball. You need to end up putting it away for sure, or else they're going to get that ball back. So, really, the problems I have with Virtua lie in the fact that you can quit, online anyway, and the fact that you don't know whether or not you actually beat an opponent until the point score goes up. The problems I have with the actual game is the actual stat system. Still, they tried to do a little bit better. I'm happy with the stat system to an extent because it's a tennis game. But, I mean, it's so simplistic. It's so simplistic and it's so tiresome. It takes such a long time. If you're good at a minigame, you almost feel like you should just give me the stats. There's no point for me to have to play the same game 60 billion times. And then they want you to play the game 60 billion times more if you want to get a better stat. It's I guess you gotta work hard if you want to be really good, if you want to have a great stats, if you want to have a great item, you gotta beat all the tournaments if you want all the money, and you gotta win all the mini games countless times if you want all the stats. But I still appreciate Virtua Tennis 2009. I think not enough people appreciate any of the tennis games out there, period. But I encourage people who love tennis to go out there, get this game for the Xbox, or get get 09 for the Wii, or if you like that other game with the motion sensor, I forgot the name of it. I think it's Grand Slam Tennis. Get that for the Wii. The PlayStation also supports Virtua 09. I think it also supports a different game that a lot of people, including myself, aren't too fond of, but if playing really slow like Molasses is your deal,